Hi everyone, we are now working on establishing that connection within the inner union. So we're on our 60-day healing journey for inner union. We did the work to stop attracting emotionally unavailable people, stop being a people pleaser and an overgiver and oversharer. We did the work to establish healthy boundaries. Now we are working on our inner union. We're on day 3 of our journey. We just started. We're on day 3. We're going to be talking about meeting your inner child. The affirmation for today is, my inner child is safe with me now. My inner child is safe with me now. What does that mean? Have you ever taken the time to reflect on your past? The parts of you, that inner child, have you ever created a connection with your inner child? When you think about it, for myself, I think that most of the answers that I've been seeking are with my inner child. It's like I knew what I liked as a child. I enjoyed certain things. Things brought me pleasure. Before all of the chaos in the world gets to you, before you start to become traumatized, before you start to be programmed by the world, your child self most of the time is fearless. It has these ideas. The child likes what it likes, etc. For me, that's how I was able to get back to doing the things that I love, reflecting back to what I enjoyed as a child, what brought me peace, what my imagination brought to me. And a lot of times it's your imagination that helps you get where you need to be in this lifetime. Because when you tap into your imagination, you get a sense of freedom. The limits aren't there. The boundaries that say, oh, you can't do that, those things aren't there. And I'm not talking about in a like a fiction way. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just the joy of loving something freely as a child, just enjoying something freely as a child. The things that you gravitated towards before people told you no, before people said, no, that's not how you should do it. You should do it this way. In order to be this, you have to do this. Children, they'll want something and they ask you for it, and they'll continue asking you over and over and over until they get what they want. They don't see the limits. They don't see the no. They don't feel restricted. So for me, reflecting back to my childhood brought me that inner union. It took me back to a space of creativity because I've always been a creative person. But sometimes when you have things happen in your life, you start to silence those parts of yourself because you're consumed by maybe the emotions that you carry, the things that you've been dealing with. But you liked what you liked as a child. You were colorful then. You might have been somebody who liked to run. You might have liked sports, but you stopped because you didn't have time because you had to work. So see, those things that brought you enjoyment as a child could possibly be the things that free you as an adult, that actually get you in alignment with your purpose here. So children, they have a lot of wisdom, and we tend to overlook them and say, they're young, they don't know what they're talking about. But they just know things without being taught. It's just a knowingness that they come here with. So that's our affirmation for today. My inner child is safe with me now. So you want to guard and protect that inner child. Make him or her feel safe so that you're able to express yourself wholly when you decide to do that. So that's the affirmation. The somatic practice is, wrap your arms around yourself for 30 seconds and notice any sensations that arise. Wrap your arms around yourself and hug yourself for 30 seconds and notice any sensations that arise. What are those sensations about? Where are they coming from? Did you need to hug yourself a long time ago? I'm just asking. But just do that. That's the somatic practice. The visualization is, visualize your younger self sitting beside you, simply being noticed. How would you feel if your younger self was sitting right beside you? Would it make you emotional because you've gone through a lot? You know, would you feel sorry for that younger version of yourself? Would you feel like, oh, now I can tell you and teach you some things, like you're going to have an exciting life, don't worry? How would you feel if you visualized your younger self sitting beside you? So do that. Take 15 minutes, sit there and just visualize the younger version of you sitting beside you. This is an excellent visualization. And then notice the sensations that come up from you doing that. The journal prompt is, what does my inner child need more of from me? What does my inner child need more of from me? Some people were silenced as children and said, go sit down, be quiet. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. So they, started to not talk, started not to express themselves. They thought they had to be on this perfect behavior and be this perfect person. They started overperforming and even being in a performative nature just to get attention or to please other people. So that can change who you are if you've learned that as a child. But what would your inner child need more of? And that's what you need to give yourself. If your inner child, an example, if your inner child was being silenced and wasn't being able to talk, maybe you should express yourself more, do more journaling, make videos of yourself and watch yourself, listen to yourself, appreciate having yourself speak and express how you truly feel. If that is your situation, if your inner child wanted to have more time out playing and doing playful things, just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you can't do playful things. You know what I'm saying? Like, find something that's fun for you to do. You got to keep that youthful side of yourself, because that's what keeps you young and vibrant. You don't have, just because you're old doesn't mean you can't do things that you did as a child. Being immature is not the same thing as doing youthful activities as a child that you would have done as a child. So that's the journal prompt. What does my inner child need more of from me? And give it to yourself. Again, you might have been neglected by others. People might not have seen you, but it's time for you to see yourself and do these things for yourself that your inner child needs. You might need to be creative. Your inner child may need to color. Get a coloring book. There are adult coloring books that you can use and color. Your inner child may have liked to tell stories, so now it's time for you to write that book. Think about it. It's different things that you might have suppressed, but doing this activity might actually activate that part of you. It may come back awake, come back alive, come back online, and now you're able to do those parts of yourself that you may have pressed down. So we're actually connecting the pieces of us, like bringing ourselves back into the state of wholeness so that we can thrive. You know what I'm saying? So that you can get enjoyment and fulfillment out of life. So that's the point, the purpose of this whole journey. That's your journal prompt. The tiny boundary is speak gently to yourself when you make a mistake today. So if you make a mistake, don't be like, oh, I'm always messing up. Here I go again. Gently talk to yourself. It's okay. I could do it again. Just let me start over. Well, sometimes you make mistakes in this life. I mean, gosh, why we got to be perfect all the time? Like, that's kind of whack to me, to try to be perfect all the time. Like, I don't think that's normal for somebody to just try to be perfect all the time. And if you're telling me that I'm not doing something perfectly all the time, then that's pretty annoying to me, because that's not normal for us to just be perfect all the time. How can you learn if you don't make a mistake? So you got to understand how each thing is attached to its opposite. So if you do go through something that doesn't feel good, now you know what it feels like to go through that. So now you know what the opposite is, so that you can get into that opposite state. So it's just how you look at things, So yeah, be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. That's our tiny boundary or practice. And the bonus holistic tip for today is do something comforting for a few minutes. Soft music, stretching, sitting quietly, something that makes you feel comforted. Wrap yourself up in a blanket, get cozy, sip some tea, something that makes you feel comforted, do that for yourself. Sit quietly, put some gentle music on, some jazz. You know, if like soft dancing gives you comfort, do that. Whatever it is that gives you comfort that's healthy. We're talking about healthy ways of finding comfort so that you can be able to regulate yourself, not somebody else having to regulate you for you. Self-regulation is key. That way you know, okay, I'm having a bad day. This is what I need to do to unwind. I need to go take me a hot bath or a hot shower or whatever. I need to calm down. I need some peace. I need some quiet. What does it take to get you in that state, that calm, peaceful state? So that is our bonus holistic tip for today. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I will see you all tomorrow. Peace and love. Mwah.